Hello. Hi. Assalamu alaikum everyone. How's everyone doing? One second. Assalamu alaikum. Hi. Hi. Wa alaikum assalam. How's everyone doing? How's Eid? Eid Mubarak to everyone. Eid Mubarak. Just finding out something. Hi, long time. Hello. Eid Mubarak. How did your Eid go, guys? Can we have a talk on that? How is it in India? How is it? So today's Eid day 3 in Dubai, because I'm in Dubai, right? So नहीं मेरे शवाल के रोज़े नहीं चल रहे हैं अभी तो फ़िलहाल. You guys tell me, do you guys fast during Shawwal? Do you guys know the hadith that says that the one who fasted the entire month of Ramadan and continues it with 6 days of additional fasting in the month of Shawwal is rewarded as if he has fasted the entire year. So if you guys can, then make sure you do fast in Shawwal, because then you will have the reward for fasting the entire year. I mean, there's nothing great than that, right? Yes, 1 year. You know, fasting is it's like my favorite thing about the religion. I love fasting. It's mainly because fasting is that deed. It's that good deed, the reward of which is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. You know, there's no other good deed that Allah rewards himself except for fasting. So when you fast for Allah, you know, and the reward is given by himself. You know, the other good deeds that you do, you read the Quran, you pray your 5 times, you know, the prayers and everything. The reward is given by the angels or whatever. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders the angels to give the reward for other good deeds, but for fasting he says I will give the reward, there's nothing more special than that, you know. So it's my favorite thing to do, and kind of really sad that Ramadan is over, and the next time we get to witness Ramadan, inshallah, will be after a year. I can't wait. But yeah, of course, you can always make every day just like Ramadan, right? You can follow the things that you do in the month of Ramadan every single day, right? Topic क्या है? मुझे खुद नहीं पता topic क्या है. I couldn't find a suitable topic to talk on, so you guys suggest something. I probably missed your comment, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was preparing for NEET. I'm still preparing for NEET. So, yeah. Okay. How's it going? No one's saying anything. We don't have Eid festival for Shawwal. I didn't get you. I'm sorry. Can you Reframe it, please. What do you mean by we don't have Eid festival for Shawwal? How many of you are fasting for Shawwal? Okay, we'll discuss this hadith qudsi. Okay, it's really good. I mean, it's one of this hadith that is really necessary today, because a lot of our deeds, we don't know if it's ending up in show off or it's actually being counted as a good deed, you know. So this is a beautiful hadith qudsi, so we're gonna discuss that today. I wanted to actually make a video on this pretty long back, but I didn't get the energy to post it, probably because the editing was so huge. So one second. Yes, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Verily, Allah loves a servant who is righteous, independent, and obscure." And yes, that's right, indeed. Okay, so the hadith qudsi that I'm talking about is basically speaks about hypocrisy. Okay, now in simple words, one second. No, you don't have to celebrate any Eid after fasting for the 6 fasts of Ramadan. You don't have to celebrate any Eid. It's just after, when you finish Eid, after the days of Eid, like the first 3 days, you can start fasting for Shawwal, right? Okay, so coming back to the hadith that I was talking about, one second. Yeah, so this hadith basically is a warning against hypocrisy, and we don't know how many of our good deeds are actually being counted as good deeds, or they're just ending up in hypocrisy, right? So a lot of us, we just do things because people are watching us, you know. We pray because, I'm not saying all of us, I'm just saying some of us, if we're doing so, we need to stop it right now, because we're not getting rewarded for it at all. Instead, we will be punished for it, right? So I'm gonna be narrating this hadith, so listen carefully for this. Okay, so narrated Mahmud bin Labid radiallahu anhu, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "The most dreadful thing which I fear about you is minor polytheism." The companions asked, "What is the minor polytheism?" He said, "It is hypocrisy." And he added that on the day of judgment, when rewarding people for their good deeds, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala will say to the hypocrites, "Go to those for the sake of whom you used to perform good deeds, and see whether you can get any reward from them." This is a hadith qudsi, or it's an authentic hadith. Right, it was reported by Muslim. I'll post this video on YouTube after this, and I'll put all the references in the description box or something, so that you guys can have a quick look on it. But all of these are authentic hadith, and it's a real hadith on hypocrisy. The second hadith that I was actually speaking about is the hadith that narrates what will happen on the day of judgment to the people who did good deeds for the sake of, you know, showing off to people. So it says that, narrated Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu, "I heard Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, the first of the people whose case will be decided on the day of judgment will be a man who died as a martyr." Okay, so before we start off with this hadith, it's just a simple context about what this hadith is about. It's about what will happen on the day of judgment, how the day of judgment will begin, and what kind of people, what is the reward of the people. Okay, so first of all, the first few people who will be called on the day of judgment are not the disbelievers or the kafir. These people will be our very own Muslims. Okay, they will be some of the most religious people around us right now. Okay, may Allah save us from this kind of destruction on the day of judgment. None of us want to end up in hellfire after doing all of the good deeds, you know. So it says that the first of the person who will be called on the day of judgment for for accountability will be the martyr. And martyr is someone who dies for the sake of Allah, right? Who dies in the way of Allah. This is a martyr that we're talking about. Okay, so listen carefully. it says that he will be brought forth. Allah will make him know about his blessings, okay, which he had bestowed on him in this world. The man will acknowledge them. Then Allah will ask him, what did you do with them? He will say, I fought in your way until I died as a martyr. So Allah will remark, you are lying. You fought so that you may be called as a brave warrior. Then orders will be passed against him and he will be dragged along his face and cast into the hellfire. Okay, so let me briefly explain to you what exactly was said. It says that the martyr will be called on, and he will be one of the first people to be called on the day of judgment for the accountability process. And one second. Yeah, so he'll be amongst the first person to be called on, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show him that he blessed him with so much in the world. And then the person will be like, yes, you blessed me with this and this, and I had all of your blessings and everything. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, what did you do with my blessings? So the man will say, I fought for you and I gave my life in your way. Basically, I died in your way. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, no, you didn't. You didn't fight for me. You fought because so that people would call you that you are a brave warrior, so that people would praise you, so that people would talk good of you. So you fought in my way and you died in my way. You didn't die for me. You died for the people. You died so that so that people could acknowledge you and people could say good about you. This is the entire hadith, okay? So then after that, he will be dragged on his face and thrown into the hellfire. And this, my friends, is the martyr that we're talking about, the shaheed, who has the highest rank amongst everyone. It's that person that we're talking about. He is going to be thrown into the hellfire on his face. He'll be dragged on his face, right? Yeah. Okay. Then second person who will be called on. Second will be a man who studied religious knowledge. Then he taught it to others and recited the Quran. He will be brought for judgment. Allah will remind him of his favors. He will admit them, and then Allah will ask him, what did you do with them? So then he will reply, I acquired knowledge and imparted it and also recited the Quran for your sake. Allah will say, you have told a lie, for you got knowledge to be known as a renowned scholar, and you recited the Quran to be marked as a qari. Then orders will be passed against him and he will be dragged along the face and thrown into the hellfire. Okay, so before I proceed, am I perfectly audible? Because I'm not wearing any mic or earphone or anything. So am I audible? Is my voice clear? Is my voice clear? Can someone please tell me? Yes, okay, audible. Okay, fine. Continuing the explanation, okay? So then now we were talking about this martyr. That was the first person that was called on the day of judgment, right? Second person is the one who was a religious scholar, okay? You know very well what a religious scholar is. You know who a religious scholar is, okay? I don't have to explain it to you. You don't need an explanation on that. A person who has very good knowledge of the Quran, of the hadith, of the sunnah, of everything. He is the religious scholar, the one who teaches Islam, the one who gives dawah, okay? Specifically focus on this, the one who gives dawah, okay? This person will be called, and then he will be said, what did you do with the favors that I gave you? And then he will say, I learned the Quran and taught it to the people. And you guys know this hadith, right? The best of the Muslims are those who learn the Quran and teach it to others. You know the hadith, right? So if you look at it from our perspective, he did a pretty good thing, right? He taught the Quran to everyone. But what happened? It ended up in hypocrisy. It ended up in show off. So he did it for the sake of people, man. He didn't do it for the sake of Allah. He did not do it for the sake of Allah. Allah will say, because Allah knows what's in your heart. Okay, your actions are judged by your intentions. What are your intentions before doing anything? If you ended up doing something, if you started doing something and you ended up doing it wrong, but your intentions were right, you still get rewarded for it. But if your intentions itself were wrong in the first place, you're never going to get the reward of it. Never, don't even think of it. So the thing that's very important here is your intention. it's important to know what you're doing, right? So then this person is a religious scholar, okay? He's a da'i. He has been teaching the Quran his entire life. And then what happens? All of his good deeds just go into it's just gone. All of the good deeds are gone. Why? Because he did it for show off. He did it so that people could talk good about him. So, no matter what you're doing, your intentions need to be pure. Even if you're doing the smallest good deed, make sure your intentions are pure. Okay? So that was the second person. Now we're going to talk about the third one. Third will be a man. What was the name of the person I'm talking about? I wasn't talking about a certain person. I was talking about a certain category of people who will be called on the day of judgment because of their deeds. And these people are not disbelievers or kafir. These people are those people who are around us, who are some of the most religious people, some of the most best humans out there in our eyes. Okay, they will be called on the day of judgment, and they will be held accountable for their deeds, and Allah will talk to them, and Allah will tell them that I gave you so many favors, what did you do? And then he will say, I was a martyr. First person to be called is a martyr. Okay, he will be said that you were given so much, what did you do? So the martyr will say that I gave my life in your way. So then Allah will say, no, you did not do that so that I would be pleased, but you did that so that people could talk good about you. That was the first person. Second person was the da'i, the person who studies religious knowledge. One second. Okay. Second person was the one who gives religious knowledge, who basically studies the Quran and teaches it to others. So these two are some of the most religious people out there, but they would be dragged by their face into the hellfire because they did these deeds not to please Allah but to please people. So I just gave a brief recap for someone who came late. Okay, third person will be a man to whom Allah had abundantly made rich, granted him every kind of wealth. He will be brought for judgment, and Allah will let him know about his gift that he gave in the world, and the man will recognize them, and then Allah will inquire, what did you do with them? The man will say, I left no way in which you like money to be spent without spending it on for your sake. I left no way in which you like money to be spent without spending in it for your sake. Which means I spent a lot in your way, Ya Allah. Right? Allah will say, you are lying. You did so to be described as generous. It means you got your reward in the world according to your intention. Now you deserve nothing in the hereafter except hell. Subhanallah. I'm actually shivering when I'm talking about this. You got your reward in the world, but you're not going to get your reward in the hereafter. In this world, no matter what you do, no matter how much you get, if your intentions were not pure, you're not going to get it in the hereafter. In the hereafter, the only one who's in control is Allah. Even in this world, Allah is the one who's in control. But He has given you the liberty to do whatever you want. But in the hereafter, it's Allah who's in control. He will be dragged along his face into the hellfire. Third person. None of the three people were kafir, none of the three people were hypocrites, none of the three people were disbelievers. These people were religious people around us, but all that happened was they turned out to be hypocrites. Three people we spoke about, right? So, yeah. So one thing we get from this is that no matter what you do it for the sake of Allah. Even if it is simple good deed, even if it's picking something up from the road. You wanted to pick something up from the road for the sake of Allah. You picked it up and you put it aside. If you did it so that people could talk good of you, that good deed is not counted Okay, in this world people would look at you and they would be like, oh, she's such a good person and all of that. In the hereafter, none of that is going to work. It's clearly in this hadith. It says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you got your reward in the world according to your intention, but in the hereafter you got nothing but hellfire. Okay?